Welcome to the Green Wisdom Health Podcast with Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis, where you will learn about natural solutions to common ailments. And now, here are your hosts, Dr. Stephen and Janet Lewis.
Hello and welcome to this week's show. I'm Janet Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Lewis.
And we are here to help you with allergies today. So if you're suffering from them or know someone who is or can't hear us because you can't get the clog out of your head, this show is for you. We are going to educate you a little bit about where they come from, what to do about them, and what might stop them from happening to start with. So we are Green Wisdom Health, home of the low-cost lab work, and Dr. Lewis is going to tell you all about allergies today. Take it away.
Yep, as soon as I get through sneezing, I'll be right with you. There's a lot to be said about this. Usually an allergy is an inappropriate or maybe an exaggerated response to your body's immune system or by the body's immune system to different substances. And, you know, there are some references that say that allergies, once you have them as an adult, will never go away, while children will generally outgrow them. And I kind of disagree with that. I've seen major allergic responses get much better, if not go away completely, over the years. And it's about fixing the GI tract, the microbiome, and your body's detoxification pathways. And I was just talking to a sweet lady in West Virginia, and I just like to say this, is like the BRCA1, BRCA2, which is the breast cancer genes, they're tumor suppressors. And when you have a mutation in those, then you have a much higher likelihood of getting breast cancer. But most of that's actually more influenced by the environment and your diet, which means toxins. And, you know, that kind of, believe it or not, does have a lot to do with our allergies too, is, you know, how your body responds to it. Sometimes you have food allergies, and sometimes it's just you're allergic versus you're sensitive to different foods. And that has to do with mobilizing your body's white blood cells to fight them. Sometimes the white blood cells overreact and actually can create more damage to the body than the invader itself. But then the allergic response becomes a disease. And before I get into that, I'll tell you this. I used to go and bush hog on the tractor at the deer leash through ragweed and goatweed and goldenrod, and I'd feel like somebody nailed me to the cross right there in my bronchi. And y'all can tell that's a weak area because I'll have to clear my throat if I've eaten anything in kind of cause a problem, which for me mostly is dairy. But now that I've fixed my gut and microbiome or greatly improved it, I can bush hog through all sorts of goatweed and clog up the tractor's filter system, goldenrod and ragweed. And I'm really pretty good the next day. It's at least a 90% reduction in my body's allergic response. And again, that gets tied back to the GI tract. Some of the allergic responses are nasal congestion, and we've got a really, really good product for that, kind of a new product. You can have coughing, wheezing, itching, shortness of breath, headaches, fatigue, hives, and other skin rashes. Or you can just have mucus come through. And there's this man up in Michigan. He's done everything I've told him to do for, I'm guessing, about 3-4 years. And he says, I love what you do, Doc, but you fixed everything except the original thing that I came to you, and that was a constant mucus production. And he's gone to see the ear, nose, and throat doctors, which I think he should. That's a good thing. He's done that. Most of the time, that's a fungal infection, but it's also in response to an allergic reaction to something, usually in the diet or possibly an airborne allergy. And so I sent him a bottle of one thing, and it didn't work. I didn't hear from him. Then I sent him a sample pack of another thing, and he wrote the most inspiring email about he couldn't believe how much I would do for him. And we finally got to the, I guess, to the root cause. Maybe not the root cause, but to deal with it. And, that's the D-Hist that is a natural histamine product, or it deals with the histamine reaction.
Well, that's got Quercetin in it, which is the big one that they say is for allergies.
Right.
And I think the thing that makes this work so well, it's something you actually have to load up on. You have a loading dose where you do 2 capsules 3 times per day for 7 to 10 days. And then as it's in your system, you don't have to take so much of it because I guess you start building up an immunity toward the allergens using it.
Yeah, and, some people do a loading dose of 5 right off the bat. And then for congestion, you've got the Sinatrol, which we've had some incredible results with my favorite gun dealer because he's always has nasal congestion because of prior broken nose. I'm sure he wasn't in a bad place, I'm sure. But yeah, he got hit and got a broken nose, so he has massive congestion, and he gets incredible results from the Sinatrol. So depending on what's going on, whether the D-Hist would work or the Sinatrol, and there's other things that will work. Folks, I want to tell you that if you're not an established patient with, lab and all that, we have a lot of different products that you cannot see on the website. So it might behoove you from time to time to give us a call so we can hook you up with better products. And we've got some incredible things. We've got some massive probiotics, and you've got to fix the gut. And here's something that's missing. You hear a lot about prebiotics. One of the best things I've ever seen is called OptiFiber Lean. And it's natural and soluble propylomannan fiber. That is a really good prebiotic to let the probiotics begin to work. But if you're not an established patient, you're not going to see that on the website. So if you're interested in that and a holy cow, incredibly big probiotic, you've got to call us. Well,
they can also just send me an email to janet@greenwisdomhealth.com and just tell me that you heard the show so that, we know you're listening out there, and then make an account on our website at greenwisdomhealth.com, and I can upgrade you where you can actually see those products Dr. Lewis is talking about, because we do want to make sure that some of these things are like really potent, and we don't want them being sold to people that don't know how to use them.
That's true.
But the natural D-Hist, if you put it in the search bar, just put in D-Hist, and that's the one for the runny nose. And the Sinatrol is the one for congestion in the chest. So we have different people with different things.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And there's different, I've always said you can read research. It says so many conflicting things, but some of the more common allergens are pollen, certain metals, cosmetics. Yeah, well, we're getting into that one too. Dust mites, animal hair, animal dander, insect venom. Last time I got stung by a bee, it's like, holy cow, I thought I was going to die. And sometimes drugs and food additives are a big one, and that's where people have trouble figuring that out. Promise you there's something very, very exciting coming in the near future about figuring that out. Many of the chemicals that are found in different soaps, cleaning supplies, you want to avoid a lot of that. And I've seen a lot of people that had allergies to mold, but it can be airborne or it can be food. Some of the things I wanted to go over some of the common allergies, the things that cause allergies in certain conditions, the most common. Just for example, if you have migraines, and I hear all over Facebook, oh, I wish there was a cure for migraines. Well, you can pretty much control it. But if it's an allergy, wheat is 78% the culprit in migraines. Nobody should eat wheat for a lot of different reasons. Oranges, I hate that, but that's 65% of the time. Then eggs, I hate that too. tea and coffee, man, that really hurts. And chocolate and milk, that really hurts too. Sometimes beef, but you wonder, is it really this particular food that you're allergic to, or is it the toxic chemicals and antibiotics and hormones that may be in some of these? So those are just some of the few. For those that have colitis or IBS, some of the bad diseases like that, that's the ones that need to call us to get onto this really, really huge probiotic. And then there's something called SBI Protect, and it's immunoglobulins. And these immunoglobulins go in and take these loosened junctions because of poor digestion, poor gut health, and tighten the junctions. So if you've ever heard of leaky gut syndrome, and we have people buying SBI Protect like crazy, but really and truly you should do the massive probiotics with the SBI Protect. So thank you for your orders of the SBI Protect. Thank you for the feedback, because there's several people that said, oh my God, it's working miracles. Put the ProBiomax with it, and that's something you got to call us to get. So the colitis and IBS, it's almost always dairy or wheat. It's number 1 or number 2. Then chocolate. God, I hate that because I love chocolate, and coffee's a big thing. Barley and hops. Well, for you beer drinkers, that's tough, to take. But you want to think about that. The gallbladder, people that have gallbladder problems, it's almost always refined sugars and what that does to your metabolic syndrome and how that messes with your cholesterol. You form cholesterol stones, and then you have gallbladder problems. But it can be something as uncommon as beets or spinach or eggs or pork or onions. Boy, I hate that too. Now, for the people, and I talked to a lady this morning about this, about ADD, ADHD. Well, if you looked at what they eat in Europe for breakfast versus what we eat here, you'd wonder why our kids do. Why? They could do a lot better, but you wonder. Actually, mental health has a lot to do with what you put in your GI tract, and that's one of the problems we're having in America today. That's manifesting in some horrible ways. But for ADD, the worst thing you can put in your child's mouth or yours is anything with artificial colors, preservatives, dye, corn, sorbitol, refined sugars, and that includes high fructose corn syrup, wheat, caffeine, and soy. But dairy is also a big one there. So if you want some young person to feel better, take that out of their diet, add these probiotics, and they're easy to slip in to a young child's diet. Fish oil also helps too because it's very, very, very anti-inflammatory. So I could go on and on, but I think I'll get out of that and just go more into the allergies.
Well, and I also wanted to mention, your parents are out there struggling trying to find something healthy to feed their kids.
Or grandparents, because a lot of times they get stuck with the kids anyway.
And that's another story.
I'm sorry, folks. I'm trying to stay off the soapbox.
But, they go and they buy them the gummy type multivitamins at the big box stores.
Yeah, that has cancer-causing dyes in it.
Right. And they taste awesome because they're so full of dyes and
high
sugars.
Fructose corn syrup.
Yes. And honestly, a natural product that is a good quality is very, very hard to come by for a multivitamin. And believe me, we have gone through a bunch of them trying to figure out one that's good.
It may be a good one, but it's not palatable. If you can't get the kid to chew it up and take it, what good is it?
And I'm pretty excited to tell you that we just got a new one in, and I had to open the bottle to try it. And if you don't mind a sample of it, I'll send you one in a package.
See if your kid will take it. I took it, and I felt 4 years old all over again. It actually tasted pretty good.
It was really, really good. And it's called Super Newts. I have no idea how they come up with that. But
we're going to try it on our grandkids, too.
It's super and then Newts, N-U-T-E-S. So I do have that in stock now. So for you that are looking for a good vitamin that don't have all the dyes and chemicals in it, I think your kids will actually like it. It doesn't taste like the nasty little B vitamins that always follow them a lot of times. But, and like I said, I'll be happy to send you a sample of it if you just ask me about it, because I think that's a big part of what's missing with kids. And if you can't feed them something good, at least give them a great multivitamin. And this particular company that's making that is Orthomolecular, who is the same one that's making a lot of these wonderful other products we have, including that SBI Protect that Dr. Lewis
we're selling all over the country because people have the IBS and Crohn's disease, and we need the leaky gut and the symptoms from that. But if you do SBI Protect, for God's sake, talk to us about a probiotic, because you can get things. That's one of those. If 1 + 1, it doesn't equal 2, it equals 3 in the way that it actually helps you. It's faster.
And if you're too shy to talk to us, you can always get the Orthobiotic 100 billion. You just have to take 3 of them. Like Dr. Lewis is telling you there's a 350 here. You need 3 of those to equal that. So either way.
More's better.
I wanted you to talk a little bit, because I think it's kind of interesting about things that help your allergies, like the increase of animal-based omega-3 fats, but to reduce your intake of omega-6 fats. And I think a lot of people may not know what the difference is between the different kinds of omegas. So, they think they're taking that as official, omega-3 and 6s. I hear them come in and go, can I have omega-6? I don't think people really know the difference. So can you explain why they should take omega-3s and not omega-6 for allergies?
I think it's wonderful how good a salesman I am that Janet actually thinks I know all this, because I don't. The omega-3, the inflammatory omega-6s actually are the vegetable oils. For example, if it's hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated, stay the heck away from it. Soybean oil, stay away from it. Cottonseed, no. Corn oil, heck no. Sorry. But if you take enough of the omega-3s, and the easiest, quickest way to get omega-3s is fish oil. You've already let the liver of the fish do the work for you. And all fish oils are not alike, because, now we're dealing in fish oils that are 3 to 4 times more absorbable. So you get to take less of them, which means it costs less for the output, the outcome. But stay away from vegetable fats. Now, avocado's good. Coconut oil is awesome. I like grapeseed. I like walnut oil. Peanut oil is questionable, but I like pecan oil. So just kind of stay away from the things. I'm not afraid of animal fats. If that's fat comes off a ribeye steak, that is really, really good for you if that cow was raised on, is pasture fed, grass raised. Not the ones in a feedlot, fed genetically modified corn. That's not a good thing. But grass-fed, pasture-raised, that's much more important. So stay away from the vegetable oil, corn and soy mostly.
And then you want to optimize your vitamin D levels. You need to make sure that they're higher, because that actually does help with allergies.
Yep.
And then hot peppers. Eat hot peppers.
That's good, but I've got something to say about that. Yes, pepper's good. But you hear people, they get on the internet and they get a little bit of information and not a lot of understanding. People say, I'm taking my curcumin turmeric with black pepper.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Folks, just because they say it's true, you've heard of smoke, mirrors, fluff, and bull. What happens if you put curcumin turmeric with black pepper, it actually binds with your globulin, and you generally will end up with an allergy to pepper, to turmeric, and curcumin. And it does not enhance absorption. It makes it almost unavailable. So don't fall for that. Put pepper with it for increased blood flow.
That's why I like our Curcuplex 95, because they do not have black pepper in it.
So don't fall for some of these smoke and mirror. Well, they were a good advertiser, therefore this is a good product. Not necessarily.
Yeah. And the other thing is Curcuplex 95. You've got to sign in. You have to have a special account upgrade to see that product, because, again,
Good health is available. You just kind of have to sidestep a couple of the rules to get the really good stuff. But it's worth it. I've seen people have miracles. It's like even I was like, holy cow, that really happened?
Yeah.
People were persistent.
And then I've noticed in people when their allergies seem to, quote, flare up. You know, of course, in East Texas, we have the green mist that comes across East Texas.
We don't get snow. We get pollened.
Yes, we get pollened. And our cars are all green. It doesn't matter what kind of color car you have. They're all green. And so it does make it worse. But it does seem to be a correlation between how bad it is and when you're eating grains and sugars.
Oh, yeah.
So it seems like, and maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like when you've had like a steak and vegetables and that kind of thing, your allergies don't seem to bother you near as bad as when you might have had
ice cream for supper.
Well, some people are telling on themselves.
I didn't say anything about you doing that. She doesn't eat ice cream, folks. She doesn't.
Like enchiladas or,
Corn,
yes. Any kind of a grain product. It just seems like it makes it really worse, the allergies. So is that a correlation or a causation?
Causation, not just a correlation. That's true. And sometimes it's hard to figure out where these things come from. I mean, just smoking one cigarette takes up about 50 milligrams of vitamin C, which is the recommended daily allowance. That's why folks don't pay attention to recommended daily allowance. That's very, very minimal. And it's a matter of oxidation and inflammation in the lungs, in the bronchi, in the GI tract. One of the biggest problems, in America, one of the most toxic things in America is heavy metals, and lead is a big one. You hear about it in Flint, Michigan, but we all have it because back when I was plumbing in the 70s, we were soldering copper pipe with lead solder. So lead is in most people's drinking water. And you know what? The only thing I know of that actually crosses the blood-brain barrier to bind with lead or those with high iron to protect the brain is something called magnesium threonate. And that's pretty good. Janet gives it to me so I can think a little more clearly. One of the most toxic things that you can do is cleaning your house. It's like, well, how can it be toxic if you're cleaning your house? There's
that was one of our questions, actually.
Oh, really?
Also from Amanda. She lives here locally, and it's Amanda R or Amanda C, whichever name. She's been both names.
Well, she got married.
Yes, she's from Texas, and she wondered because she said she always hears us talking about not using Clorox and that kind of thing, and walking through the chemicals, and it creates problems. But what you're talking about, they're natural deodorants and natural cleaners. Are there any recommendations for such things? Is there a natural deodorant that will work?
Primal Pit Paste is the only natural one I've seen that seems to work real well on me. I've not seen anybody turn up their nose.
And then we use, in our house, I use a lot of the Zum cleaners, ZUM, because I think they smell good. And they've got different things. I got laundry detergent.
The essential oil-based different ones. Yeah. I think Melaleuca's probably a good one also. Our
cleaning lady actually comes in and uses Melaleuca products because, believe it or not, Clorox burned her nose so bad she can no longer smell. So it's not just us making this up about the chemicals. She said, I can't use that anymore. I said, that's awesome because I don't want that. So there are natural things. As far as shampoos, I'm a big fan of the Monet hair products because I really think they're great.
She had no intention of selling it, but we've got a lot of patients that says, oh my God, your hair looks really good. It's thicker than it used to be. She's selling it here locally and selling it 500 miles away to different people too. So, if you want to try it, let us know.
And then I always tell people to use a natural soap. You need to try to stay away from the soaps that are so full of, chemicals. I mean, even though they're supposed to be clean.
Be moisturizing.
And moisturizing. Many times we will find that those people have urinary tract infections on their lab because of the soap that they're using.
Right.
Constant
irritation. That's not a good thing to have irritation on your yeehaw.
Yes, they're they're taking baths in a tub and using this special deodorized soaps, and they wind up with urinary tract infections. So just get some natural soaps. I use some I think they're called Giovanni. They're a body wash thing. They smell really great. But you can pick them up at any kind of health food store or whatever. I just try to stay away from the harsh chemicals as much as you can because you're getting inundated with them every day anyway in other ways. Hair color, I don't want to talk about. I have hair color. My hair color is brown. So,
very beautiful brunette.
So somebody said, well, what do you put on your hair? I'm like, Monet shampoo.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the, labs that we're recommending in case you've got these allergies and don't know what's going on in your gut is our comprehensive lab panel. And for you people out there that don't know what we do very low cost lab across the United States. There's generally a Quest lab location close to you that we send you to. We do 12 panels of lab. With what we're talking about today, that would be the GWH3. If you're on our website of the featured lab panels, it's $298, and that does include speaking with Dr. Lewis and a functional medicine report and 12 lab panels, so you're not guessing at what's going on. So if you're having these allergies and can't get rid of them, many times on the lab, on a CBC, we will see something in there called EOS, which means when they're high, you've got allergies in the gut. So there are specific products that we use to help fight those and get that back down to a good level. But
that's the white blood cell immune response I was talking about.
Okay. Well, without the lab, it's really kind of hard to know where to start. So
stop guessing.
Yeah. So basically the things we're telling you about to help with the runny nose and the congestion help. But to get through the root cause of why it's doing it, you might want to consider doing lab work.
And one of the things that I want to stress here, some of these studies that I've read, and I do read a massive amount of research. Some of them are done on kids, but it's still very appropriate in the adults. Intestinal flora is incredibly important. That's why we do a lot of the optifiberline, the prebiotic that helps the probiotics kind of hang around and flourish better. But an imbalance in your intestinal flora causes allergies, and that's from Journal of the Annals of Medicine. Treatment with probiotics for allergies, American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Asthma is associated with colitis, which links the allergies and asthma to the colon, which I think that's pretty good. That's Journal of Respiratory Critical Care Medicine. Probiotics for the treatment of allergies helps to reverse intestinal permeability, and that's why we sell so much of that SBI Protect, and those that do with the probiotics get a synergistic effect. 1 + 1 = 3. So that's intestinal permeability. And anybody that's heard of leaky gut understands what I mean. And there's a study that said that children with allergies have increased intestinal permeability. And folks, within the next month or so, we're going to have some new tests that are coming out that can test allergies and intestinal permeability.
You talk about children with allergies. I know milk and dairy are an allergy, but a lot of people don't think about cheese.
Yeah,
cheese is a big allergen, and our granddaughter would eat these little pretty cheeses that are in little red round packages. I don't want to say their name, but
smart. We don't need a lawsuit.
But they she'd eat them like crazy, and lo and behold, the allergies would start with a runny nose
and snotting.
Mm-hmm. So consider that when we're telling you dairy and sugar and that kind of thing. Cheese is dairy.
Yeah, some people don't make that connection. But milk's the worst source of food allergies, and that's coming from Journal of Respiratory Disease and Journal of Allergies and Clinical Immunology. So Janet knows what she's talking about. I talk about how much research I read. Sometimes she gets on and reads research, and it's like, holy cow, I'm impressed, and I've got to have that product. So there's so many different things you can do. If you're exposed to mold, that's a bad thing, but why not increase your body's ability to fight that? So folks, we have so many answers, and all you need is the intestinal fortitude or courage to get on there and, give us a call or write us.
And better yet, go on our website to greenwisdomhealth.com, fill out the health survey, and that way we can assess what way to best guide you to get started to having a life worth living. We very much enjoy that you take the time out of your day to listen to our show. We will be here next week with another show.
And the people that say, oh my God, you did this, you did that. People that say nice things to us encourage us to do more of it. So thank you. You make our life much better and a life worth living just because you give us good feedback. So thank you. We appreciate it.
Amen. And we'll talk to you here next time.
Once again, our show has come to an end, but your hope in your health is only beginning. If you or a loved one are in need of a different outcome and are waiting for a brighter future, take the first step and go to our website and fill out the health survey. Please don't keep us a secret. If you know someone that could benefit from this podcast, please share this show with your friends and family. You are only one step away from a life worth living.